Hi Tammy and Avery, I'm going to show you how I paint these watercolor birds. Usually I go outside, so I have my sketchbook, these small sets of watercolor, and these kinds of watercolor brushes. I like these brushes because they hold water inside and it's easy for traveling. Also, you will need a pencil and possibly an eraser. So first, if I'm outside, I take a picture of the bird. I didn't take this picture, I just Google searched it. And then I make a very quick sketch with pencil. First, I would sketch the angle in very light pencil marks of what the bird will be in. So there's the bird, and how I get these angles is I hold out my hand outstretched with my pencil and kind of match what I'm seeing there, and then I draw the angle according to how my pencil is angled. I hope that makes sense. It's really hard. It's really hard to show you with one hand. And then I did that, so I know that the bird's body is in this angle. And then I match it up with my paper. Usually you have to hold your book up so you can match it accurately. Otherwise, if you go like this and then you put it back down, it wouldn't match. Now I have a very light pencil sketch of this bird. So basically I sketch the basic shapes of what I see. If I can show you on here, you can see that there's like a circle here, an oval, and then just another long oval here. And then if you break them down into small shapes, you can see that it makes it much easier. So circle here, triangle here, and a lot of the times it will also help when you look at the negative space. So not what's on the bird, but what's behind it. Or for example, you can see that there's a very distinct triangle here that you can make out, and that will help you determine the angle of the leg and the space between the body and the toes or claws. I have the sketch. I try to lighten up the drawing with an eraser, just make it lighter so it's easier to paint on. Normally I draw like this, but you can barely see it on video, so that's why I made it a bit darker and then lightened it up. Now I'm going to blot some colors down. What I like to do is go from light to dark, so I've just blocked in the yellow colors of that bird. Now I've blocked in the basic gray colors of the bird. With watercolor, you have to be very patient and wait for the paint to dry before you apply more paint on, otherwise all the colors will bleed together and make a mess. Oh, I forgot to mention that this is kind of the size of brush I use for this. Just a bigger one to block down the colors. It makes it quicker and easier. For these black spots, I want them to have softer edges. So first I'm going to actually wet my painting with just water. And then I'm going to go in with black, which I usually don't use straight out, but blocked in the basic colors of the bird, and usually by now the bird's gone and flown away, so I take my sketch home and finish the details at home. So now we are at home and looking at the photo we took. For getting the details, I use a smaller brush like this. Actually, I should have used a smaller brush for the eyes because now the shape is not correct because I was lazy and I used a big brush. And now I would take a closer look at the photo to see what's going on with the feathers. So there's kind of like these lines going through like this, and they help you break down the shape of the wings. And I can also see that there's a patch of, where is my pencil? A patch of a different color here, so more of a greenish gray, and I would be keeping that in mind when I'm painting. Now I'm starting to get more of what the bird has for its colors on its body. When making paintings and drawings that are observational, it's very important to remember to not rely on your brain. What I mean is, a lot of the times your brain tries to make sense of what you're doing. This is actually one of the hardest things to do for drawing, I find. You want to make sure you're looking all the time to see what you're drawing instead of letting your brain try to fix the drawing. So if I drew this bird from my head, it would probably look something more like this, and then I would think, oh, there's feathers. And this is like a very exaggerated example, but your brain just tries to make things easier for you. Like if you're drawing a pine tree, a lot of the times you might start to draw one like this instead of what a pine tree actually looks like. I hope that made sense. So now I'm actually waiting for my paint to dry before I go over top with more paint for details. And the next layer of paint, I'm going to use mostly the pigment and put only very small drops of water in them. Sometimes if you think you put too much paint on, you can use a clean brush to take the color off, and it makes it lighter. You can use that technique on these darker edges to soften up the edges. With watercolor, it's all about layering your colors and just being patient and waiting for the paint to dry. For now, I would say that I'm finished with my watercolors, but once it dries, I'm going to go over some more details with some pencil crayons, and I'll show you what I mean in a few minutes. What's going to happen now is I've lost some detail here at the wings where there's a lot of highlights going on. If I show you there, all these highlights that I've lost from painting too much, I'm just going to go back with a white pencil crayon and put them in, just very lightly. This is it. I'm happy with my results, and yeah, there's a lot of ways to paint and draw, and the best thing about painting and drawing is that there's no mistakes and you can just have fun with it. This is just one way to draw. So I hope you have fun drawing birds this year for your 4th grade. Bye!